museum on the waterfront of this like beautiful landscape. This is what the Danes built when they were in Greenland. This sort of social housing from the 60s and 70s. It looks like it's built in flat Denmark, like it completely ignores the landscape. And what we try to do is we try to make the smallest possible courtyard building, capturing a small fragment of outdoor space for a sculpture yard. But instead of ignoring the landscape, we really follow the landscape, so it becomes this sort of melted circle that also opens the courtyard towards the view. It's completely protected from the outside, so we can move it all the way into the elements. And basically by following the topography, it lifts up gently, inviting people to enter and go into the museum. You have this sort of Guggenheim-like sloping gallery of paintings that takes you down to a perfect circle that has a series of very generous galleries. But maybe the most sort of political statement is that as soon as you enter into the museum, because of the melted circle, it creates like this sort of framed view of the sort of Greenlandic landscape with the fjord and the mountains and the iceberg in the winter, the Greenlandic nature, the Greenlandic sculptures and the artworks inside. But everything Danish has been completely eradicated from the view, so it becomes sort of an oasis of Greenlandicness in a city completely dominated by the Danish heritage. That brings me to the last sort of series of projects that we've been doing, and that sort of represents something that I think is almost like a general tendency in architecture, is that the infrastructure of the industry of the past always gets reinvented as the framework for the cultural and social spaces of the present. A typical example is a city like Park City in Utah. It used to be a mining town for silver. This is the Coalition building where the silver mines came down. And basically when the silver mines dried out, the same lifts started going the other way, taking skiers up the mountain, because the first ski lift in the world was a repurposed mining lift. So since then the Coalition building burned down, and the plumes of smoke have turned into plumes of snow cannons. So Park City is now a ski resort. They also have the Sundance Film Festival. The former garage has now turned into the Kimball Art Center, and we were asked to sort of create a new sort of art museum where the art center is, like right where you arrive from out of town and where you have the main street. So the main idea is we place one big gallery nested into the slope, another gallery on top. The gallery on top is like oriented towards where people arrive from out of town, sort of creating almost like a friendly building that turns its head and says, "Welcome to Park City." It also magically recreates the proportions of the old Coalition building. So even though it's taller than all the neighbor buildings, it somehow sort of reawakens the ghost of the past. And we thought, how can you make a new building in such a sort of historical city? The immigrants that went to Park City were mostly Scandinavians, and they brought with them this idea of log construction, of interlocking logs that they used for the mining shafts and for their buildings. Now they have sort of perfected this construction technology. Even the Indians, the Navajos, use solid timber to create these complex shapes. And finally, when the Pacific Railroad went over Salt Lake, it was piled on these big wooden piles. Now they took away the tracks, and now they're taking out the piles. And because they've been marinating in salt for decades, you can actually use them. They become this like very beautiful type of wood. So we propose to take all these elements of the history of Park City and basically build the museum like a log cabin, using the thickness of the wood, so it's like thermally insulating, it's structurally load-bearing, and it can even do the complex geometry of the turning building. All of the circulation follows the timber. So when you enter into the building, you follow the timber and the light. You move up across the galleries. This is the restaurant that opens on the roof of the garage. And you continue to the top. So in a way, you can see the project sort of becomes for Park City the cultural town grazie mille, what the coalition building was for the mining town, and it's like this sort of typical example of how sort of this sort of idea of infrastructure can sort of be reinvented. Another sort of typical example is too many variables. I definitely needed a third hand there. Right next to Prince Hamlet's castle, Kronborg, in the north of Copenhagen, Kronborg has become this UNESCO World Heritage. It's almost impossible to do anything in Denmark without building next to something UNESCO. The Danish Maritime Museum used to be inside the castle, but then when it became UNESCO, they had to kick it out. And they suggested, why don't you put it inside this dry dock? But it was more like a wet dock at the time. It was full of water and it was in a very bad condition. And the museum was going to be bigger than the dock itself, so it would be this sort of claustrophobic basement. So we thought, what if the dock could be like a big public void sunken into the ground? We had to reinforce the dock either from the inside or from the outside. So we thought, why don't we actually leave space between the new dock walls and the old, so we can sort of turn the diagram of the museum inside out, framing the dock as a giant void in the middle. All we have to do, like, there was this dilemma that UNESCO said that we had to be completely invisible, and of course the sponsors of the museum wanted some kind of architectural masterpiece. So somehow making a void would be the way of combining invisibility and exposure. A series of bridges takes you down into the museum. They have galleries and auditoria and restaurants inside, and brings daylight into this underground basement. So we started building this, and actually when Abitare was with us, the cranes, a big ship arrived from China, where on a shipyard we built the steel bridges out of the same material that ships are made of. They were lifted in place, like they were sort of made on the other side of planet Earth. Happily they fit when they arrived. So essentially, like you have the long spans and like the sort of raw steel that you build ships out of. You have the old dry dock and the raw concrete where you used to build the ships. So all of the technology or the infrastructure of shipping becomes the framework for the museum. And it's an interesting little side effect, because the bridge has the handrail that makes it very strong. It can actually span quite long. The underside is very, very skinny. And the way we make it possible is because the underside is suspended in an anchor chain. So the entire floor you're walking on is actually hanging in the roof above you. So actually I noticed one thing is that it seems like all of the work we're doing in Denmark is underground for some reason. We're doing a sports hall in my old high school. It's underground, and we try to make it as little underground as possible. It's a handball arena. A handball is a Danish sport invented by a soldier. And you need 4.5 meters on the edges and 8 meters in the middle. And we thought it could be sort of, my math teacher gave us the commission. So in a way of sort of demonstrating that I actually got something out of high school, we designed the curve based on the mathematical formula for a ballistic arch, what you call gravity's rainbow. So essentially you have this sort of undulating roof of glulam beams that is completely shaped by the sort of curvature of a handball. Let me see. Maybe I do one project, just showing the images.
Each one of those views is at least 4 pounds.
Huh? Did you get it? I mean, it's 11 o'clock. It's Friday. We should be drinking drinks and dancing, not talking about architecture. But so maybe I'm gonna finish off the last example of social infrastructure is trying to sort of start using the idea of a hybrid between cultural programs and infrastructure proactively. we got invited to do a sculpture park in the north of Norway.